What's up, you fishing freaks? What is going on, man? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to talk to you a little bit more about Caney Creek out in Louisiana. Very surprised at how many of you guys jumped on that, looked at that lake. It was way more popular than what I thought. So definitely go check it out. If you haven't, check out our previous video. I'll put a link up here at the top, somewhere up in there, to show you guys the previous video. But what we're going to do is we're just going to continue on. We stopped right there at the edge of that point. We're going to continue moving on north and see what we can find from the Google Earth perspective. And then don't forget, keep checking out the channel because I'm going to be back to talk about the avionics side where we'll really talk about more of the offshore stuff. So for tonight, let's go ahead and jump in, see what Google Earth can share with us. Hopefully, we can find some good stuff for you. Let's go. Well, here we are back at Caney Creek Reservoir out in Louisiana. I guess you could say it's northeast of the city of Weston. So hopefully you guys got a chance to view that first video. I did put that link up there, so hope you guys saw that. Before we get started, what I do want to do is just kind of show you, if you've never been on one of my lake breakdowns before, I just want to show you real quick how we organize this on the left-hand side. So let's go up here to Caney Creek. Let's pull this down. So the first thing is I use Navionics mobile app to find offshore hotspots that are available to you on this lake. So that's going to be based off of certain contour lines, things like that. Really main areas that I think that you should go out and at least take a look at, scan around, see what you can find. So we have all the offshore hotspots there. We also have different types of cover, whether that be brush, rock, laydowns, whatever it is that we can find. Now, Caney Creek was a little bit unique because the water doesn't fluctuate that much on this lake. It's not like some of the lakes we have in Texas where we can draw it down 20 or 30 feet. We can't do that here. So we're not going to be able to find as much on the shoreline, but we still were able to find quite a bit of stuff, as you can see with all these markers. We've also got channels and ditches, and I think this is one of the key things that really helps me out when we started breaking down these lakes and putting them on our grass was all of these tracks that really put you in position where you need to be on a creek channel. So let's say that if we go up in here in this cove that's right here, and let's say that we want to be able to fish the creek channel. So we don't want to beat the bank. We actually want to pull off and really focus on the creek channel and focus on big turns that are in the creek channel. Well, we've got these marks. So if you're following that track, you're on the exact creek channel. And the way that we did that was just by drawing down the water far enough to where we could see where that channel went. I think 2012 is probably going to gives us a pretty good image, and then 2015 was another good image too. So we just kind of had to go and look at the imagery and then actually mark that exact channel. It's going to be a lot more accurate than some of your contour maps and things like that. And then we've also got boat ramps. Of course, if you've ever heard me do a lake breakdown video before, boat ramps are a very good pattern. Do not forget about them. And then last but not least, just different formations of rock that's out there. So there's a lot of different rock and different types of cover that you can fish around. So again, we've got all of that marked. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. I'm going to pull this off to the left, and I'm going to draw this back. Actually, let's leave it at 2015. We'll just leave it there. Last time when we were out here, we were actually ended right here at this point. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start there, and we're going to start working our way up. Now, I didn't see too much from a Google Earth perspective right in here. There looks like there may be some rock right here off the edge of this point. You know, a lot of times when you see all of this hydrilla and stuff that's built up along the bank line, typically there's some rock that's underneath there. At least that's what we've been seeing throughout so far breaking down this lake. So maybe check in there and see if there's a little bit of a hard spot. The other thing I did want to say is that after posting this first video, someone responded back to me and said the two main forms of cover in this lake as far as aquatic vegetation is basically lily pads and hydrilla. So that just makes this lake even more epic, and really does help explain what all of this is. It's just hydrilla that's growing up and the waters come down. So moving on up here, I didn't see too much along here. Definitely, you know, good grassy bank line. You might have a good saddle right in here, possibly, that you could fish if the water got up high enough. You know, again, just not enough on the bank line for me to mark anything for you. I'm not saying that's not a good bank line to fish. There just wasn't anything there that I could highlight for you. Now, as we move over here, we do have a little bit of riprap that's up along this whole bank line. You can see there's grass around it as well, but you do have some hard surface in that area. You've also got some more right over here along these little seawalls, I guess you could call them, in the actual lake. Let's keep moving and see what else we can find. But again, we've got the rock that's in that area, and then on this shoreline, just seeing a lot of cover and stuff is in regards to grass. You got a pretty decent little island that's out here. Whatever this is, I can't even tell what that is. I don't know if that's a little island or a duck blind. I have no idea what that is, but you can tell there's a bunch of stuff around it. So I'd definitely say come out here and just see what that is. Very interesting that it has all these little stick ups or whatever that is that's in there. But just go out there and check it out. That could be a good area for you to check out. Find some fish in there. Going up in here, not seeing a lot of laydowns or anything like that. Again, doesn't help that we couldn't get this lake down very far, but really just not seeing anything here that we could mark for you guys. But there's all kinds of good fishing stuff in here. I mean, when you're looking and you're coming up into this little channel here, I mean, you've got some really good points to take a look at. This is a really good point. That's a really good point. Even this one here as well. You've got some really good shade lines as well that you could check out and take advantage of. You guys have heard me talk about that before. You got these little secondary points out here before they come in here and spawn. There's just all kinds of good stuff in here. It's a really good spawning area up in here. Got a good boat ramp there. Another good point. So even though we're not really marking anything there for you, this lake still has a lot of good structure to it for sure. So then moving up here, you've got a little bitty creek channel that you could get up in, hopefully find some stuff in there. So let's pull back and let's go back around. The next thing that we saw was really up here off this point. It looks to be like maybe an old road or possibly an old ramp or something, but there's a lot of debris right here off the edge. And so if I pull the water up to 2021, you can see that some of that stuff is pretty submerged. So you definitely want to take a look at that. Now let's keep moving up here. We've got another ramp that's up here. That's the Caney Lake, Jimmy Davis State Park. There's usually, when you find these state parks, you can usually find riprap somewhere close by. So I'm sure you've got a little bit of riprap in here around the ramp possibly. And then I don't really see anything. I would have thought we would have saw some riprap, but I don't really see anything up in this area. Just some really good stuff. Again, some real good pockets. Again, real good hydrilla all throughout this lake. Man, I wish we had that stuff around here. Get back in here. There is an isolated dock, so that can be pretty fun to fish. You know that there's going to be some fish that are going to relate to that dock. It sets up pretty well back in the back of this creek channel here. You got some pretty good bays as well that you could fish. But again, not a lot that we could mark for you. We couldn't find a lot of laydowns and stuff like that. This spot in here looks like it could be interesting come springtime. And then also getting all the way up in here. This is going to be a really good area, spring and fall, to get up in. There's your little creek channel as far as what we could find from the Google Earth imagery. So then we move back down here. We've got that ramp. We go across the point. The point, I was hoping the point would have some rock, but I'm not seeing too much in here. Just a lot of vegetation. Just a very healthy looking lake. Get into here, you got a little seawall. I don't know if you guys have ever fished those seawalls before, but come springtime, that's kind of a money pattern that you can get on. Now, this seawall is kind of out in the open, so I'm not sure how good it would be, but definitely fishing right up against those seawalls can really pan out sometimes to be really good spots. As we move further up here, not seeing any rocks, not seeing any laydowns, but there is some rock right in here. I'm going to zoom in. It's all around this little dock. So there's a little bit of rock right in here, along with a lot of hydrilla and stuff like that. But it looks like there might be a little hard spot right off the edge of that point. Hopefully it would come out here a little bit further, give you some opportunities to find some fish there as well. Now this little power line that comes across, it almost looks like it could be an old roadbed as well. So you may want to check, come out in here and check these areas that are out in here and just see if there's any hard spots in there, maybe some holes in the hydrilla, stuff like that. That could be pretty good opportunities for you. Moving on up, we've got some more rock that's right in here. You can see it comes up, and the hydrilla is all around it, but looks like you could have a hard spot right in there. That looks like a really good point as well. And again, all of these little coves that come back, man, they've all just got really good stuff. They've all got really good defined points that you can fish. They've all got docks. They've all got creek channels. Like this one's got a creek channel up here as well. Just a lot of cover, just a lot of grass, all that good stuff. There's just all kinds of good stuff to fish on this lake. This one would be a hard one for me because there are so many different options that you could take. As we move further down here, I'm just going to go down around this point. We've got a little bit of rocky area right in here, and you can see it. Again, the hydrilla is really getting close to it, but this appears to be a possible little hard spot right in there. That could be a good little spawning area too, just the way it's faced. You've also got a little bit of riprap along this seawall right here. It's very light, so I didn't really mark it, but you can kind of tell that there's something going on right in there. Pretty good seawall all the way up in here, though, that you could take a look at. Lots of docks, a little bit of rock that we could find maybe right in here. Again, it's really hard to tell with this, the way this lake is, if it's rock or not. I mean, it appears that every time we see it, kind of see this hydrilla or whatever it is be in that color, there's typically some rock around the area. So that's kind of why we're marking it as rock, but some of this stuff is really hard to tell whether it's rock or if it's just dead lily pads or dead hydrilla, like right in here. Again, appears to be possibly some rock around that seawall, maybe some rock that was blown out. There's a little bit right in there as well. But some of these little hard spots can be just money spots. So definitely go check them out, fish around them, see if you can find anything there. As we move further up, there is an island that's out here. We'll be able to see that when we get on the offshore stuff and take a look at that. But there is a little bitty island you can see that's right here. Let me see if I can pull this down some more. Yeah, there we go. Pull that down just a little bit more, and now you can see it. So you got a little high spot here. Looks like it has some vegetation around it as well. That could have some good potential. I really like that. I also like that dock, how it's just completely isolated. There's nothing around it. Those kind of docks are usually very productive. And then, of course, here's that creek channel we talked about. Really good area to fish in the spring and the fall. And then you've got some additional brush that's over here as well. So let's keep moving down. We're going to come back down out of that little cove, and we're going to come up here. And just to kind of show you guys where I'm at, let me back up a little bit. We're about halfway up or about halfway through the lake here. We're almost up to the north side. So let's keep moving up north and see what else we can find. We'll probably go about 15 more minutes or so, and then we'll call it quits. But we've got some rock right here that's around this little seawall that's in here. You can see the rock this time, which half the time you can't see it. Also, when you get up in here, there's a little bit of hard spots right up in here. You got some laydowns that are over in here. We probably should have marked those. Let me go ahead and mark those right now while I see them. Lay down. And there's another laydown. If you look right there just south of it, there's another one there as well. I'm going to keep moving this over, see what else we can find here. Again, another isolated dock. That's always good when you can find those isolated docks like we talked about earlier. And then you've got some rock that's around these seawalls. So really, I mean, this looks like it has some potential. Just fishing right around in this area. You got some underwater stuff, a little bit of offshore stuff. You got some rock around the seawalls that you could fish. You've got docks. So a real good area to take a look at. Also up in here, you've got some more rocks. If I zoom in, you can see these. Probably just some man-made riprap, but I'm telling you, those things can be very productive when you find those little patches of rock like that. And that one looks like it goes all the way around that little point. Real good place to throw your shallow dive and square bill, stuff like that. And then as we move over here, we've got another ramp. Pretty good size ramp there, actually. Pretty impressive. We've also got some brush that's kind of here. We've got some more laydowns that are over here. Now we're kind of getting into more that area where we can find a little bit of stuff. Moving up in here, you just got a couple little ditches, and then you've got some rock that's right around this bridge or that highway that goes across there, and then scooting on out. I didn't see too much around this island. Always love fishing around islands and stuff like that, but as far as things to mark there for you, I just didn't see too much that I could mark there for you. But we did find some stuff here. Obviously, we've got a lot of riprap or rock or concrete or something going on along around this highway. You want to fish this little pinch point here. That's going to be a money spot to be fishing. You've got a little boat ramp there. You've got some additional rock around the boat ramp. If I zoom that in, you'll be able to see it. And then we've also got another ramp, or it looks like an old ramp possibly, that's over here. It's kind of hard to see, but if I move it up now, voila, it just magically appears. We've got another ramp that's back there too. That's something that obviously a newer building. So let's go ahead and move that back to 2013 where we had it. That seemed to be our best image there. And we're just going to keep moving up and see what else we can find. Now we get up in here. This looks really interesting. We got a couple different channels that we've marked here for you. So you could definitely get up in here and fish around these creek channels. These are going to be primo areas to fish. When you get around the turns, the bends, you definitely want to slow down and really work those really well. There's going to be debris around those things. Those are going to be key spots for you to take a look at. So just take a look at all those little ditches and creek channels that are up there. And then there's also some more rock that's right here off the edge of this point that you can take a look at. We talked about all of this around the bridge. Let's keep moving on down. Let's see what else we can find down here. We've got a lay down that's down here. Barely see it, but it's right there by that old dock. That old dock can actually be pretty good. There might be some debris in the water and things like that that could be really good stuff to fish around. And then back here, you've got two little creek channels that kind of come through here. I know they don't look like much, but I'm telling you, when you can find those, if that depth changes just a foot or 2 foot, I mean, it doesn't even take very much, 6 inches. Those can be really key areas to really locate some good fish. So definitely go back there and check those out. We've got another little island that's out here as well that appears to have a hard spot on top of it. I can't say for sure, but it kind of looks like a hard spot, so I'm calling it rock. So we got a little island here. We got some rock around this seawall too that you can see. Some more rock around here, around this little seawall, and then move on back. Just some little scattered pockets of rock. I mean, you've got a little bit right here. Nothing too crazy. Again, we can't find too much on this lake because it really doesn't fluctuate enough for us to find it. Got some more rock back here by this little bridge. Some more in here off the edge. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see it's just kind of scattered throughout. But this looks like it has some potential. And you can tell too, just by looking at the landscape, there's probably some scattered rock in here somewhere, just by looking at the actual land around it. And then I'm going to keep moving down. We've got some more rock again back in here. That one you can actually see a little bit. So you got some pretty good debris going along that little seawall. That could be a really good spot to go check out. And then moving down, again, same type thing, just some scattered rock here, some more scattered throughout here and here. But again, we're not talking major rock formations. We're just talking about small little areas of potential hard spots. We've got a ramp here as well. If we move out here and look along this seawall, you can actually see the rock that's along that seawall. So that one's going to be a lot better. You got a lot bigger stretch to fish. And the fact that it's a main lake point, that makes it a pretty good spot to be looking at. You've also got some rock here that's around this little bridge. And anytime you can get in these little pinch points where you get these little channels that come through and the wind can create current going one way or the other, those are always great places to go check out and see if you can find some fish there. So you definitely want to go look at that one. And then when we get up here in the backside, this is where we really start seeing that creek channel. So that creek channel is going up in here, and you can kind of focus in here. But really, all this is going to be good. All this back in here, it's very protected, and that's going to be a great place to look come springtime to go up in there and see if you can find some bedding fish and stuff like that. As we move a little bit further down, we've got some rock here. We've also got another island. Now, this island, I don't know. I didn't see any white spots, so I'm not going to say that there's rock on it, but it's definitely an island. You definitely want to fish around it. So go in, check it out, see what you can find there. And then moving on back here, just a couple more things back in this pocket. You've got a ramp back here and then just some scattered rock, again, like more like riprap right in here. This looks like a really nice home that they put back in there. So I'm going to swing on around. We're going to go over here. We're going to see what else we can find. More rock here. Got a real good seawall. And then when that seawall ends, that's when that riprap starts. You've got some pretty good riprap. It looks like it goes all the way back to possibly like right in here. So pretty good little riprap stretch going on right there. And of course, you got another isolated dock all by itself off the edge of a point. This one's by itself off the edge of a point. Those are going to be really good docks to focus on. And then it looks like you may have some potential of some scattered rock along this bank line. I can't tell, but I see some white in there and stuff like that. So I'm going to say there's some potential for some rocks in that spot as well. So let's keep moving on down. We may be able to just go ahead and wrap this one up today. I think we can get through it. Let's see if we can. We've got about 7 more minutes, so hopefully we can make it. But we got some more rock down here by this bridge. Again, really great areas to fish. If you can get up in here, this could be fun shallow fishing back in this area. You got a big old laydown that's right here that you can see right in that spot. You've also got some additional stuff that's up here. So we've got some rock around these little rock around these seawalls. You can see it right here. If I zoom in, you can see the top part of it. So you know it's a really hard spot right in there. So that's going to be good. Those docks are probably going to be pretty good as well. Got some pretty good rock in here. Got a little brush pile going on right here around this dock. You want to check out, excuse me. And then moving on down, I like this little spot here. It's like this little finger that comes out and sticks out, and you know it's going to be a hard spot. It's going to have some rock on it or something. So you definitely want to go look at this, fish around this. I love spots that are like that. I don't know what it is with me and those little points that come out, but they scream success for me, and they're definitely something I'm attracted to. And then as we get back in here, just got an old road bed. Maybe go back in here if you can, if the water's high enough, and see if there's some hard spots around that road bed or a break or a nice fine line in the hydrilla, something like that. Those can always be really good ambush spots for the bass. Moving on down, we've got some brush right here off of this point. You could take a look at it. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see it. Little bitty brush pile, maybe some rock in there as well. Just something going off the edge of that point for sure. Another little lay down here. Not too many of those, but that one looks pretty good. It's pretty far out into the water. And then zooming around this point, we've got some additional rock that's over here, so you can see it. It's just off the edge of that seawall, but it starts right there where that dock is and kind of goes back until that seawall starts to become really defined. Over in here, it looks like you want to have some flipping opportunities and stuff like that, just some brush, some hydrilla and stuff like that. But it really depends on if the lake's going to be high enough. I didn't see anything in particular that we could mark for you guys there. We did find some rock that was over here. You can see another good stretch of just riprap, just right there. Real good spot. Like the location and everything. Like the way that thing looks. And then moving on down here, we've got some more rock. So we've got more rock over here on the edge of this dock. You can really see that one. That one's pretty obvious. And then we've also got some more right here that's just off the edge of this this person's little lot here. It looks like they've kind of made their own little rip-wrap seawall or something like that back in there. But those, can be really good spots to take a look at. Let's keep moving down. Looks like we've got about 4 or 5 more spots to show you guys. And then we will be done for this one, and we're going to switch over to the Navionics side. Let's zoom in here and let's talk about these. We've got a little bit of rock in here. It looks like a rock pile or a laydown or something. It's right between those two docks. So you'll want to go take a look at those. And then moving down in here, we're going to look at these last 2 spots. We've really got some potential rock in here. I'm really not sure about this one. I'm going to say that has the potential to be rock. Like if you look at the land around it, you do have some hard spots here. You got a hard spot there. So we may have some hard spots right in this area and right in this area, but I cannot guarantee it. I'm going to go ahead and say it's rock there because it's close to the dam. But again, these are going to be a little bit iffy for me. So I think that wraps us up for the entire lake of Caney Creek Reservoir out in Louisiana. I will be back next week to do a Navionics breakdown for you where we actually go out and we look at the contours of this lake and see what we can find offshore. And one thing you know that we're going to hone in on is what in the world all those boats were doing out there in the middle of the lake right here. I don't know if these are crappie fishermen or what. They don't look like bass boats, but there's got to be something going on in that area, and we're going to see if we can find it. Hey, guys, if you have a lake that you want us to break down in Louisiana or Texas or pretty much anywhere else in the United States, send them over to us, simplisticfishing@outlook.com. We'd love to put them on the list and break them down for you. And until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take